The Italian Red Cross says more than 120 migrants landed on the island of Lampedusa overnight. That's after the arrival of some 7,000 people in recent days. They came from North Africa, overwhelming the island's reception centre and setting off a migration crisis for both Italy's far-right government and the European Union. DW's Christine Mhundwa is on Lampedusa, where she found out how some of the new arrivals are coping with the situation.
They're tired and exhausted. They've spent weeks, even months in North Africa, waiting to cross the Mediterranean to get to Europe. Now they're here, eager to start a new life. These men are from the Gambia.
My dream is to get educated here, start my career, my everything here, build a new life.
Right now I'm not thinking of going back to Africa. My focus is to enter inside Europe, to have better place, to have better settlement and start job.
Lampedusa is geographically close to North Africa, and that makes it the first port of call for many migrants trying to enter the European Union. But this week, boats coming from Libya and Tunisia arrived in record numbers, overwhelming the small island and causing fear among local residents. But some were still moved to open their doors.
They
were really hungry, really. I thought of my children and all of those Italians who migrated before us, and I got over my fear. I got some tomatoes and onions, turned on the stove, and made pasta.
As generous as these gestures may be, Lampedusa simply cannot accommodate all the people that have arrived here. So the Italian government is moving them from the island.
From here, the migrants are being sent to Sicily, and that's going to be about a 10-hour journey on this vessel that they're boarding behind me. Once they reach Sicily, they're going to be relocated to different cities across Italy. Some are going as far as right up north.
As the migrants move on, the pressure on the island is easing. But the tension among European governments over migration is growing.
DW's Christine Mhundwa filed that report from Lampedusa. She joins us now from one of the migrant reception centres there. Christine, you painted such a vivid picture of the tension, the difficulties that come with such an enormous number of arrivals. How have things developed there since you filed that report?
Well, Anthony, as you started out in introducing this segment, more people have arrived overnight. This migrant centre behind me that you can see behind that fence is the only migrant reception centre on the island. And we're told as of this morning there are about 2,800 people there. These evacuations continue. The first one this morning will move about 400 people off the island. In all, the Red Cross hopes to take off about 2,000 people from the island today. But these crossings are super slow. The process is slow. We watched it yesterday. It takes about 4 or 5 hours just to remove a single batch of people. The conditions are really difficult. The migrants, of course, have told us there isn't enough food, or at least not as much as everybody would like. So some of them tend to jump over the fence and roam around the island, speaking to locals, begging for food. It has, of course, made some people scared, but I think others are learning. And we witnessed firsthand patrons at a restaurant taking food off the table to share with some of the migrants. The conditions there are atrocious. There is just not enough capacity there. That facility can only accommodate 400 people, at max maybe 420. There are currently nearly 2,800 people there right now, so that gives you a sense of just how difficult that situation is.
Prime Minister Maloney asked the Army to build larger reception centres and is asking for an extension of the time limit for detention of migrants. Who would that help?
If you ask the people working on the ground here, that is of no help to them. In fact, the criticism against the Italian government is that they have cracked down on search and rescue efforts in the water. Now, the difference that would make is if other boats, NGOs, were out in the water picking people up, they would be able to direct people to different parts of the country. At the moment, everybody is being brought to Lampedusa and, of course, overburdening an island that simply cannot cope, and then having to create this logistical nightmare of moving people around. But if NGOs, for example, people were in the water, IOM, the UN agency, has told us, helping to pick people up. They would distribute people so you wouldn't have scenes like this. So the solutions that the Prime Minister proposes right now are going to do very little to relieve the pressure that is on the ground here in Lampedusa.
DW's Christine Mhundwa in Lampedusa. Thank you so much.